Yankee fans, we got some Royals fans, and we got the Yankees at the Royals here at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. A warm night and a great baseball game as the Yanks are going for the sweep here tonight with Judge and Perez and all the stars out here tonight in KC. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast here on FS1. Alex Rodriguez is here, and my name is Kevin Burkhardt. And so, Alex, these Yankees come in, and we kind of thought their offense had potential, but they have been more than that. They are destroying the American League in just about every single category. Question is, how are they doing it?
Well, they're a juggernaut right now, and they're doing it from top to bottom. They're doing it with speed and power. And I know Aaron Judge gets all the headlines, but if you look at the job that Aaron Hicks has done, Castro, and Brett Gardner looks like Roger Maris the last few weeks. You know, talking to Joe Girardi in his office earlier, he mentioned that they're faster, they're more athletic, and they're better. I don't know if he was taking a shot at me, but he's right. They're better, and they're very exciting to watch.
Well, here's one thing we do know. These are the facts. Look where they rank in the American League. First in everything, stolen bases. They're usually not up there in that category. They're second. They're hitting in the clutch, certainly hitting with power. They are doing it all. Meanwhile, for the Royals, their offense had woken up. They had won 6 of 7, a sweep of the Orioles over the weekend, and then they ran into this Yankee buzzsaw. So now can they get back up off the mat?
I think so, and they've earned the right to rally. I would say give them to the All-Star break. Any team that has Lorenzo Cain and all-world Eric Hosmer at first base deserves a shot. But the one guy that they missed tremendously is Kendrys Morales. Switch hitter, arrives at the ballpark at 2 o'clock in the morning, watches video, shares information, and I got to tell you, he hits great clutch hitting. Maybe he's going to take a guy like Eric Hosmer to get him back to the postseason.
And we will see if this Royals offense can heat up tonight against the Yankees. We know their offense can hit, and their batting order is everyone's doing it. Alex mentioned Gardner. He's actually getting the night off tonight just to rest. So Ellsbury is the guy leading off for them tonight. Castro bats cleanup, and Aaron Judge in the 5th hole. That seems to be the comfortable order for Joe Girardi of late. And they will get a look at Danny Duffy, who has really had an excellent year for Kansas City. Came into the starting rotation last year and flourished big time, and so he gets the call tonight.
Yeah, Kev, Danny Duffy, I saw him today at 5:30 getting a haircut, so he looked very relaxed. He's a very athletic kid, tremendous worker, and he's a guy that has 3 pitches: fastball, slider, changeup, and his fastball, especially when he's ahead in the count, plays up.
And so Duffy, who is a guy that, was thriving in the bullpen. They put him there in that role at the end of 2015 for their playoff run. And Ned Yost told us for the game, said, I didn't really want to take him out of the bullpen, but we had some injuries that they had to deal with, and they took him out. And when they did and reinserted him back in the starting rotation, he found his groove and he became a different pitcher. So Duffy comes in 2-3 with a 3.38 ERA, and here he is facing this Yankee lineup, #1 in so many categories across the American League, with Jacoby Ellsbury leading things off for New York as we get underway in Kansas City. And the first pitch is a strike. Ellsbury having a nice year, getting on base, .272 average, 8 stolen bases when he gets on. That's always been a key for him. And it's quickly in the hole, 0-2.
And Kevin, Duffy's a guy that's going to be 91 to 94, but I can tell you from facing him, and maybe a handful of times, his fastball does play up in the zone. That is his best pitch.
And Ellsbury check swing goes around, so 1 batter and a strikeout for Danny Duffy. Why don't we look at this defense for the Royals? So they're defensively fantastic. They have committed the least errors in the league, and you see there's Gold Gloves there with Hosmer and Escobar. Missing in that picture, Alex Gordon, their Gold Glove left fielder. He's been struggling so much, so Ned Yost giving him a breather tonight. Also against the left-hander, and Bonifacio and Soler will play defense. That'll be Gary Sanchez for the second hitter of the game against Duffy. Sanchez with a cut and a miss. Duffy getting 95 on that gun in the early going. So Sanchez missed basically a month, Alex, and he's come back and he's hit .368 with a couple of home runs in 10 games off the disabled list. But missing a month That's a lot of time to come back and reinsert yourself like he has.
Well, it is, and especially when you've been as hot as he's been the last 7 months or so. He's been world class. I mean, if he kept going last year, he was on pace to hit probably 60 home runs.
It's funny you say that because Joe Girardi told us earlier, he said, I think because of the expectation this year was so unfair. He's in an 0-2 hole to start, and it's outside and high. So how do you live up to that?
Well, it's New York, but I think one of the things that'll help Gary a lot is he's been in the system for about 6 years. And when you look at guys like Greg Bird, Aaron Judge, all the great young talent around him, I think they'll keep each other, very alert.
Takes inside 2-2. Well, he was hitting 150 when he went on the disabled list, and he's now got it up to 293. That's Matt Holliday on deck.
Kevin, very, very seldom do you see a kid this young who has this type of swagger and quiet confidence. I said earlier, he reminds me a little bit of a blend between David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez.
Is that all?
That's it.
That's quite the company. It'll be a 2-2. And down he goes. So Danny Duffy starts the game with 2 Yankee strikeouts.
Yeah. And this is the devastating slider right here. This is a Steve Carlton slider. And again, it plays off the 95-mile-an-hour fastball, Kevin, that you mentioned. This slider is unhittable, and if they chase it, it's going to be a very long night for the Yankees.
Yeah, already starting off with 2 strikeouts. Duffy will strike out about 6 batters per 9 innings. And now it'll be Matt Holliday, who came over to the Yanks, signing with them, team's DH this year. And Duffy really throwing strikes early, and he's, obviously a lot of talk about the veteran. He's been around for so long and his clubhouse presence, but he's also producing at a big clip. He's been great with runners in scoring position. He's got 7 home runs and 25 RBIs already. And it's 1-1 to Holliday.
So you look at Duffy, and already early in this game, he's telling you why he is so much of a better pitcher. He's throwing strikes, he's throwing his secondary pitches, and he has swing and miss stuff. But the number one thing is he's throwing strikes, setting up that great strikeout slider.
There's on the outside corner. Duffy consistently 95 in this first inning, and aggressive, right? That's what Ned Yost called it.
I mean, that's 94-mile-an-hour fastball right inside, and he's pitching backwards, Kevin. Early on in his career, it was 8 out of 10 were fastballs.
1-2. Holliday down on strikes. What a start for Danny Duffy. He strikes out all 3 Yankees to face him, and it's the Royals coming to hits when we come back. City Royals, Escobar at the top. And leading things off, went back to that about a week ago, and it seemingly had worked until this series. Perez gets a break behind the dish. He's DHing tonight, so Drew Butera is the catcher. No Alex Gordon. He gets a rest. He's been slumping terribly, so he'll get a break in the outfield for this Royals squad. Going up against the 24-year-old left-hander Jordan Montgomery, who made this rotation out of spring training and has really held his own so far in the early going.
You know, he's been a great case for the New York Yankees and a great surprise. He has a full 4 pitches: fastball, slider, change, overhand, curveball. Can throw his curveball for a strike and pitches backwards a little bit.
And Alcides Escobar up there swinging away at the first pitch, as he likes to do, and fouls it off for strike 1.
And Kevin, what I mean pitching backwards, if you think about counts like 2-1, 3-1, 3-2 are hitters counts. What's normal is a fastball. Montgomery can actually throw changeups and sliders and dump a curveball in there to get back in the count and make it 2-2.
It's interesting too, because the Yankees don't feel like he's had a game where he's had all 4 of his pitches, maybe even all three of his pitches, but yet he still had success. Slider normally is kind of the out pitch for him. 0-2 to Escobar, and he fouls it off to stay alive. You know, it's amazing. So Escobar has been, you know, when they went on their run to the 2 World Series, he was their leadoff guy, right? You look at the Royals record when he bats leadoff, and then as opposed to when he's anywhere else, it is such a stark difference. And he goes down upstairs on the fastball. So Escobar is a strikeout victim, and it doesn't make sense because he's not a leadoff hitter. He doesn't get on base, and Ned Yost just threw up his arm and said, you know what? It just seems to work. So he's leading off.
Sometimes you can't put an explanation to it. I mean, the numbers are not overwhelming, obviously, as you see here, but he's a winning player. He's been on championship team, and he's a guy that brings a lot of swagger and confidence, and sometimes it's just a good feel.
So we've had 4 batters, and we haven't seen a baseball put in play just yet. That's how we started this one tonight in Kansas City. Mike Moustakas is the hitter, and he takes inside for ball 1. Moustakas having a great year, especially in the power department. 9 home runs. That leads Kansas City. And he rips this one, but it's foul.
You know, Kevin, something to watch tonight, especially with a young pitcher like Jordan Montgomery. You have Cowboy Joe West behind the plate, and generally he's a hitter's umpire, very tight. But the most important thing Jordan can do is if he thinks a ball was a strike, you do not want to stare in there and give him any attitude, because it will be a very long night for Jordan.
Joe's been at it for 39 years, Alex. It's, as you well know, it's the longest tenure of any umpire ever. So I don't think you're going to get anywhere arguing with Joe. Montgomery 1-2 to Moustakas, and Moustakas pops it to left. Hicks, and there's 2 away. And that'll bring up Lorenzo Cain, who's in the lineup tonight. You know, we were wondering if he would be, because in last night's loss to the Yankees, he took a tumble coming in, trying to make a diving play in the outfield. So good out there in center field, and one of those plays where the glove kind of catches your wrist and it bent awkwardly. So he left the game last night, but back in there tonight, and Cain is hitting well on the season. Here's last night. Luckily doing just fine today. He goes after the off speed, and it's 1-1 to Lorenzo Cain.
Now, this guy's a very special player, but he's also a very special human being. What he does in the community, but more importantly, you know, to have a center fielder that plays Gold Glove type defense, and reminds me of a Willie Wilson from Kansas City from the '85-19 World Championship team, and also a guy like Devon White. He's an easy glider. He's very athletic. He looks like a basketball player, and to be able to hit third in a World Championship team, that's why I would not give up on the Kansas City Royals.
Cain to short, and Gregorius throws him out. 1, 2, 3 go. The Royals were scoreless after 1. We're back in Kansas City. Scoreless game. Finale of a 3-game series. Yankees have won the first 2. Danny Duffy struck out all 3 Yankees on just 12 pitches in the first inning. Here's Starlin Castro. And he fouls it straight back for strike 1. So Duffy, freshly shorn, as Alex told you, with a new haircut. Relaxed, talkative when he came into the stadium before, and taking that energy out on the mound.
I mean, that is remarkable that a guy can go out and have that type of first inning. And 90 minutes before, he was getting a nice haircut and shaving the nice beard.
Pitchers are different creatures, though, right? I mean, I'm sure you saw all different kinds, playing with some guys. Some guys just like to be in their own little corner. Some guys are talkative.
And especially left-handed pitchers.
He is in both of those categories. And it's 1-1 to Starlin Castro, who comes into tonight leading the major leagues in hits. Takes downstairs. And it's 2-1 to Castro. Right now, we're about a quarter of a way into this season. Castro's got a 93% OPS, and that leads all second basemen. He's an all-star the way he's playing this year.
Kevin, and the big difference is his numbers are all across the board, they're all up. But if you look at his strike zone discipline, that's something that when he came to the team last year, we wanted him to focus on hitting strikes and being more disciplined. He's at a rate today there'll be a career high in walks.
Wow. Good count, 3-1. And taps it foul, so it's 3-2 to Starlin Castro with big ol' Aaron Judge on deck. There's Judge. Hard to miss him. He even made you look small standing next to him yesterday.
He's a gentle giant. He's one of the nicest kids you ever want to meet.
Here, though, 3-2 to Castro, leading off the second. Left side, Moustakas, diving stop. Can he make the throw? He did. What a play.
Oh. There's a tremendous play, and that's one thing this team can do better than anybody is they can play great defense. Tremendous stop over the hand. Has always had a very strong and accurate arm.
Feels like Moustakas is good for one of those tonight. You heard the crowd chanting Moose. And look at the replay. Get him. Looks like he did. Close, but he got him with the stretch from Hosmer. So 1 down. And that'll bring up Aaron Judge. What a rookie year for Judge here. All he's done is lead the league in home runs, runs scored, 5th in RBIs as he takes a strike. And here's a good one from our stat man Mitch Smith tonight. Alex, I know you'll like this one because you're a big history baseball guy. Give it to you after the pitch. 0-1 coming. Fastball's outside. So Judge, you look at the rookie record for home runs in Yankee history is 29. It's 1936 by a fellow named Joe DiMaggio.
Ooh.
He's got 14 already. Think about that. All the great Yankee greats, all the times. No one has hit 30 as a rookie.
That is amazing. And, Aaron Judge is not only a superstar for the New York Yankees, he's a star for Major League Baseball. And I'm a fan of baseball. There's a guy that I would tune in every night to watch.
2-1 here. And it's 2-2 to Aaron Judge.
Kevin, you look at that swing, it was a little bit of a lazy swing, but what I do like is his cadence, his body language is a lot calmer. His demeanor is a lot calmer. Last year, he was a lot jumpy. You see this right here? That's almost like he's falling asleep in the batter's box. I love that. For a guy like Aaron Judge, less is more.
Here he lays off. They'll see if he went around. Oh, and they say he did. So Joe West with the appeal. Down to Jim Reynolds, who said strike 3.
And that's Duffy's 4th strikeout, all of them on slider. And it all starts with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. You saw in the previous pitch, he was late on the fastball. That makes you speed up the fastball, plays right into Duffy's hand, and a slider right under his hands.
So 2 down in the second. That'll bring up Chase Headley. And he takes strike, or swings at strike one, I should say. Headley's in a tough slump right now. Just 4 of his last 36. His numbers on the year, where he has been a more productive hitter from the left-handed side. From the right side, he's only hitting .205 on the season. It's 1-1 to Chase Headley.
You know, Chase is a very, very professional hitter. He's a professional player. Comes to the clubhouse every day, ready to play. Tough as anybody. Wants to play every day. Switch hitter. And, you know, he'll go through his up and down, but at the end of the season, he's always very accountable.
And it's 1-2 to Chase Headley. So here are the Yankees, this offense that has scored 36 runs in the last 4 games, and just putting it on the infield has been a little bit of a struggle against Danny Duffy in the early going. Well, you've been talking about, he's been going back to that slider as his wipeout pitch tonight. It'll be a 1-2. There it is. That is working all night long for Danny Duffy. That slider is nasty. And he's got 5 strikeouts and 6 Yankee batters. Scoreless going to the bottom of the second. MLB on FS1 is brought to you by Indeed, the world's #1 job site, and by Supercuts. Save time checking online with the mobile app or at supercuts.com. Welcome back to Kansas City. Kauffman Stadium, just a gorgeous place to watch a game if you've never been, along with Alex Rodriguez, the maiden voyage for A-Rod in the booth. I love it. I'm Kevin Burkhardt. Ken Rosenthal down on the field. We'll check in with him in just a moment. You get a look at this gorgeous ballpark. Been around for a while, renovated, and it's a great place to come and take in a game. Waterfalls in the outfield, get a little barbecue during the day. We're all ready to go with Eric Hosmer leading off in this second inning, scoreless game. He fouls it straight back. So, I mean, it's got to be so strange, Alex. You're coming to the ballpark today with a suit on, which you've done before, but you've never come to the booth and dropped off your stuff before.
That's true, Kevin. Even walking into the Kansas City Royals clubhouse and Ned Yo's office, it was all pretty surreal.
It's like, wait, what are you doing here?
I felt like security was going to kick me out, to tell you the truth.
A little different. Ned had some fun with us, and of course we get to meet with the managers for the game, so it certainly, I'm sure, was strange for you being in there as Hosmer slaps it foul. 2-2 to Eric Hosmer, who, you know, he started off the year in such a slump, had a tough April, but he has been on fire in this month of May. 2-2, and it's outside and low, so the count goes full to Hosmer with Salvador Perez on deck. Hosmer, there's the evidence, 400 this month. He's got the average all the way up to 295. And takes a breaking ball outside for ball 4. So the first base runner of the game, as we watch young Jordan Montgomery pitch. I have a feeling Ken Rosenthal has a little bit more about his history.
I do, Kevin. I spoke with his college coach today, Chad Holbrook, and he told me that South Carolina was one of the only schools to recruit Montgomery. In fact, Holbrook said some of the school's in-state competitors were kind of laughing at them for offering Montgomery a scholarship. Back then, Montgomery was a beanpole, less than 200 pounds, threw only about 82, 83 miles per hour. So what did Holbrook like? Well, Montgomery had an uncanny knack for throwing his changeup for strikes, pitched to both sides, great work ethic, fearlessness. As he went on, he gained strength, now weighs 225 pounds, also thrived on the big stage. No one in South Carolina is surprised that he's succeeding for the Yankees.
Yeah, those are a lot of good qualities, Kenny, that you said there, that's for sure. As Salvador Perez takes ball 1. And Perez gives Aaron Judge a long run for Judge, but he gets there just before the line, and Hosmer retreats to first. So Montgomery, you know, it wasn't a guy that the Yankees came into spring training, Alex, thinking, oh, this is the guy. He's going to be a stud in the back of our rotation. But, you know, he just very coolly and calmly went about spring training, impressed people. And, you know, we talked about Joe Girardi, and he just said, you know, they didn't square him up much in the spring. You never really saw it happen, and that's pretty much been true in this regular season.
Look, he won a championship at University of South Carolina, and he's a guy that, you know, 4 pitches, throws the ball right over the
over the top.
Yeah, right over the top.
There's Bonifacio here, and he takes outside.
He's got the fastball, he's got the curveball, he's got the slider, and like Kenny said, the changeup is a pitch that brings him back into count. I know facing guys like him, he can be very challenging and very frustrating to face.
Want to know to Bonifacio, Jorge Bonifacio, left fielder tonight. But you're talking about over the top. Well, Montgomery is 6'6". He's really tall, and tell us why this is an issue for hitters as we watch.
Well, first of all, not a lot of left-handed pitchers are 6'6", and we call that a really tall arm angle. And when that ball comes from there, it's so unorthodox that you don't get to see that type of delivery very often.
So harder to pick up spin, things like that?
I think all of it. It's harder to pick up spin, the slider, the curveball, and the changeup. Everything out of his hand looked exactly the same.
Now here's the hitter's perspective. I like this. 3-0 the count. And there's a strike. You can see you don't see it that quick, and with that 6'6", that long stride, as you were talking about. Boy, Jorge looks exactly like his brother Emilio. 3-1. Upstairs, ball 4. So after a clean first inning, Jordan Montgomery has walked 2 Royals here in the second. Well, Alex, you hit it on the nose. There's not a lot of lefties 6'6", certainly that have played for the Yankees. One on the roster now is CC.
Yeah, as a hitter, you like repetition. You like seeing the same things over and over again. But, you know, spending some time with the Yankees in spring training, here's a kid that walks around with a lot of confidence. He has a quiet swagger about him. You know, we talked about lefties being a little bit odd, but here's a guy, you can't say enough about a guy that understands winning and missing bats. And this is the first good test of the day. Let's see how he can recover.
There's Sabathia. Had himself a nice start earlier in this series, get the Yankees going. First trouble of the game, though, for Montgomery. So 2 Royals on via 2 walks, 1 out. And here's Jorge Soler, who is still kind of new to these Royals fans. Came over in the trade for Wade Davis from Chicago. Got off to a tough start after coming off the DL with an oblique injury, but is heating up the last few games. And he takes strike 1. 5 of his last 13, and he hit a home run. That was a line drive rocket. That was one of the hardest hit balls I've seen the other day. So that's why he's here. His extraordinary power. And an RBI chance here. Hosmer off second, and Bonifacio, the runner, on first. In tight.
You know, Kevin, this is the kind of guy that when he walks into the clubhouse, players, managers, GM, they salivate because this guy has a chance to be a 5-tool player and be an all-star for a long time. The question is, can they put it together? And for the Kansas City Royals, they're hoping it happens right here.
1-1. And it catches the corner. Fans don't love that one. 1-2 to Soler. Well, Ned Yost told us before the game, he said, look, you know, he's young, he's making mistakes. See the change, just catch it there. At least got the call strike. He's like, but it kind of reminds me of our team like in 2013. All these young guys are, you know, young. They show some flashes, but they're making mistakes, and that's okay. You know, I think he expects that of Soler at this point. Here in a 1-2 hole. He stays alive.
You know, Kansas City's done as good a job as anyone of drafting players, developing players. And one of the things you have to do, Kevin, is you have to celebrate mistakes. You have to encourage young players to be aggressive, take the extra base. You want them to be themselves and show their personality, show enthusiasm.
Bonifacio and Hosmer are the runners. 1-2 to Soler with one down in the second. And fastball is high, way high. So 2-2. Well, there is a fine line with that, though, right? I mean, I hear what you're saying about showing personality and letting them be aggressive, but there's a point, I guess, where you can't have it that crazy.
You have to control your adrenaline a little bit, but you want these guys, you know, the one great thing, basketball and football, you show your emotion, that's celebrated. Yeah, you don't want to go crazy, but it is important for these guys to play with a lot of enthusiasm.
2-2. Montgomery deals upstairs. 3-2. And so now all of a sudden, Jordan Montgomery, who had a super clean first inning, is in danger of walking the bases loaded.
You know, if you're Montgomery here, you're probably thinking changeup blown away. You're hoping for a strikeout or a throwout if Hosmer runs, which he probably won't.
3-2. Tap left side. Could be two. Henley to second, and the return. Bounce and can't handle his Carter. So they only get Bonifacio at second, as Castro didn't have a great throw to first base, and it'll be runners in the corners with 2 away.
Nice play here by Headley. Nice strong throw to Castro. He didn't get enough on that throw. Nice job to keep the ball right in front of him with that man on third, keeping him right there.
And just not enough mustard from Castro. So the fielder's choice by Soler. Runners on the corners now with 2 down, and here comes Whit Merrifield, who hit a home run last night. 4 home runs on the year for Whit. And breaking ball is a little high. So Whit Merrifield with 2 home runs in his rookie campaign last year already has doubled that total. And this one is center field, base hit, and the Royals will take the lead. So a 2-out RBI for Whit Merrifield, and it puts Kansas City in front.
Fastball right down the middle, and Whit had a nice, short, compact swing to it. And the Royals like him. They call him a baseball player. He can play all over the field, swinging the bat well, and that was a really nice short swing.
So Kansas City strikes first after the walks come back to bite Jordan Montgomery, and now it's Drew Butera who does the catching tonight, giving Salvador Perez a night off behind the dish. Perez is DHing. Butera, though, last 2 starts has hit a home run each time, so he's on a nice little mini roll. And he fouls the first pitch back at strike 1.
When you're Salvador Perez backup, one thing you're guaranteed you're going to get is a lot of rest. Because Salvador Perez loves baseball as much as anybody I've ever seen. And boy, it's a shame that he's not behind the plate, because I just love to watch him catch.
He's actually caught the most innings in the major league since 2013, the first year that he became a full-time starter. So you're spot on that. 0-1, and this is punched to the right side for a base hit. Now will Soler motor on home. Here comes the throw, the tag, not in time. 2-0 Kansas City.
Kevin, so many things happened. So many good things happened here for the Kansas City Royals. First of all, not a bad pitch. Away, another good short compact swing. Runner hesitates a little bit around third, scores. But what I like, Drew reads the high throw from Aaron Judge and goes right into second base, putting 2 more runners in scoring position and keeping the pressure on the Yankees.
And so that prompts a meeting at the mound. It's been a rough second inning for Jordan Montgomery. Started off with a walk to Hosmer and then a walk to Bonifacio. Yankees failed to turn the double play, and that has hurt them because Merrifield and Butera delivering back-to-back 2-out RBI singles. And for the Royals, just a little life, their first lead of this series that the Yankees have dominated in the first 2 games here.
And they opened the door a little bit with not turning that double play. For a young pitcher like Jordan, every out is important. You do not want to give any team 4 outs.
So we go back to the top of the order. Here's Escobar, second and third now, and a base hit could really put the Yankees in a hole. And he takes for strike 1. Escobar, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Montgomery deals 0-1, and breaking ball's in the dirt. Nice block by Sanchez.
There's an important hitter here, a very important hitter here for Jordan. You want to get back to you want to get back in that dugout, give your offense a chance to get back in this game. A base hit here can be a backbreaker early in the game.
'27th pitch of the inning for Montgomery, and this one is popped up right side. Castro out, Judge calls him off, and Judge comes in and the inning is over. But the Royals do some 2-out damage, take a 2-0 lead over the Yanks after 2. Duffy, he's faced 6 Yankee hitters and he strikes out 5 of them. His season high strikeouts is 8. We've only played 2 innings. So he's got it going right now in this one. It'll be the bottom of the order for the Yanks. Here's Didi Gregorius. And he takes outside for ball number 1. I think that's the first pitch ball he's thrown in this game. Duffy, if you remember, by the way, actually has the franchise record. He struck out 16 Rays last August. Check swing by Gregorius, and he went around. So it's 1-1. And think about this franchise had some really good pitchers play here. So Danny Duffy with the franchise record of 16.
I got to tell you, Kevin, it was remarkable how comfortable and peaceful this guy was at 5:30. Duffy getting a haircut.
Popped up. Hosmer's going to take care of it. Yeah, and he had like the Oklahoma jersey on.
Yeah.
He's just hanging out. And I know you loved what he's been doing tonight. That fastball has been a real weapon.
It has. He's thrown 6 out of 7 first pitch strikes. He has 5 strikeouts, all on slider. But you're seeing here is not necessarily the slider, is a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, which makes the hitter very cognizant, speeds it up, and then here comes the slider.
Got good velocity tonight. That's a little taste of it. And so far, 7 Yankees up, 7 down. This is Aaron Hicks, who swings at the first pitch and hits it deep to center field. And it's going to hold on up in there for Lorenzo Cain. So Duffy, it's been an interesting year, right? This is his 9th start of the season, and his 2 starts against the White Sox have been brutal. If you take that away, his other 6 starts, he hasn't allowed more than 2 runs in any of them. And so as we look at the Lincoln Motor Company keys to the game, Alex, we kept it simple for New York. Who's tonight's hero for Kansas City? Just pretend you're not pitching against the White Sox.
That's exactly right.
This is Chris Carter, the 9-hitter for the Yanks, who fouls off the first pitch.
You know, Kevin, fans always ask me, why does this guy get you out so easily every time? Or a pitcher, why does this team hit you so well? There's something that when you walk, maybe drive to Kaminsky and you're driving your Uber, you know, before you know it, it's 4-0. And you haven't thrown just 25 pitches. That's just the way it rolls in baseball sometimes. Hard to explain.
Oh, 0-2 the count here. Carter now the regular first baseman for the Yankees with Greg Bird, who had pretty much had the job, but he's been hurt with an ankle injury. And for Bird, unfortunately, promising young rookie, got off to a bad start. The injury a part of it. There's no even timetable for him. He's still experiencing pain in a bone bruise for Greg Bird. So Carter will play first. Occasionally you'll see that guy, Matt Holliday, but the Yankees don't really want him in the field. He's more the DH. 1-2.
You know, what's incredible, Kevin, is you look at their offense. They lead the world in pretty much every offensive category. They've been an offensive juggernaut, but there's room for improvement. At first baseman only hitting 188. So they'll welcome Greg Bird back, and he can only make this team that much better.
Duffy looking for his 6th strikeout of the game, and he has got it. Danny Duffy. A 9-pitch inning. He goes off speed there. He has got 6 strikeouts. What a start for Duffy and the Royals as Hosmer comes to the plate. When we come back, 2-0 Kansas City. Well, Angels take on the Mets, or you've got the Giants, Cards, Rangers, Tigers. Check your local Fox network for the game in your area. Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox. There'll be another A-Rod game, Angels Mets with Joe Buck on Saturday. You're busy this week.
I don't know, Kevin. The way this is going, I may be back in the studio with Petey.
Here's Moustakas. See, we just had our first lesson. Your first time ever in the booth, and you just learned about the cough button. You have to release your fingers so we can hear you talk.
Exactly. I'm a novice up here.
Hey, but this is all new. So Moustakas in an 0-2 hole, starting off the home third, and he fouls it right back. Maybe coming up to you, Alex. A little short of our booth.
I proved I couldn't catch the ball a long time ago.
You know, there is some rain in the forecast tonight, and hopefully it holds off. But it was a warm day today, a little humid, and the wind has picked up here at Kauffman Stadium. It's starting to gust in a little bit, so it'll be hard to get one out of this yard tonight. We'll see. I mean, it is usually, by the way.
This has always been a pitcher's park, and depending on that wind and it's blowing in, it'll be very hard to get one out of this place.
So it's 1-2 to Mike Moustakas, the Royals' third baseman. Montgomery tries to work him inside, but a little too inside, and it's 2-2. Did you like hitting here?
I did. I loved it. It's one of my favorite stadiums. You know, Kauffman Field, great fans, great tradition. I always saw the ball well, and you know what? It's big, but it was fair. If you hit it, it will go.
It'll be a 2-2. Chance for Carter, and he makes the play for the first out of the inning. So we want to welcome you to the broadcast booth. I mean, yeah, you're up here, not down there. Alex Rodriguez, I'm Kevin Burkhardt. How's it feel so far?
You know, it feels good. I was happy to see a lot of my former teammates, and I think they were happy to see me, but they were really happy that I wasn't wearing a uniform anymore.
Get out of here. Yeah, I mean, it's. Do you like the view from up here? I mean, that's obviously different too. You're used to, you know, being down in the dugout watching the game when you're not on the field. You like the way it looks, this bird's eye view?
I mean, I love it. First of all, this is a beautiful park. I'm the wrong guy to ask. I'm a baseball nerd. I love to watch baseball. If it was up to me, I would be at the stadium 365 days out of the year.
Lorenzo Cain is the hitter. Grounded out to shortstop his first time up tonight against Jordan Montgomery, who's looking for a bounce back inning. Here's Headley. 2 down.
You know, Kevin, this is one of my favorite players in the game, and he's a true superstar. A guy from Miami, drafted 3rd overall, 2008. And, you know, talking to Ned Yost today, he said he's the complete package. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, if you're an agent, an owner of a team, and you're thinking about what does your perfect player look like, for me, that would be Eric Hosmer.
Well, it's interesting because he's in a walk year of his contract now, and you said something to me the other day that I was pretty blown away by. I mean, his reputation is great. Obviously, his production won a World Series. And we'll maybe finish this in the next inning as Hosmer grounds out. Nice bounce back from Jordan Montgomery as we play 3 in KC. 2-0 Royals. We start the 4th inning from Kansas City. Baseball on FS1, little midweek edition. Glad you could join us. Along with Ken Rosenthal, Alex Rodriguez in the booth. I'm Kevin Burkhardt. And it's a 2-0 Royals lead with the top of the Yankees order, Jacoby Ellsbury at the plate. He squares the bunt. It's a good one. Duffy has to hurry, makes the play. Oh, nicely done.
You know, this is a very, very difficult play, especially for a left-handed hitter. I'm sorry, left-handed pitcher. When he finishes the windup, he ends on the third base sides, gets over there, very athletic, makes a great throw, and a tremendous play by Eric Hosmer.
And the Yankees are debating whether to review this as we look at the replay there. The question is, was he on the bag? So let's see. It's taking a while. Joe West has to make a call to move on, or the Yankees are going to do this. Let's watch one more time. And the Yankees will challenge this. I don't know if I see enough there to overturn it. It's tight. It's certainly worth the challenge if you're Joe Girardi to start off an inning. They haven't had a sniff against Danny Duffy here. Absolutely.
I mean, he's got 6 strikeouts. They haven't touched him. Great idea and great thinking by Ellsbury. Put some pressure. You know, Brett Weber down in the Yankee clubhouse is the video coordinator and does a tremendous job for the New York Yankees. Last 3 years, he's been top 3 in getting these plays right. So,
you know, Alex, one thing I'll say watching this, I think the ball hit the glove before, but his foot is coming off the bag. So the question is it coming off? Is it still touching the bag? I think the ball went to Hosmer's glove before Ellsbury got there, but now they'll determine, I think, was his foot, did it stay on the bag long enough? And so that's what they're looking at. Trying to streamline the process this year in replay from New York. It's a tough one to call, and an important one. Duffy has mowed down every Yankee, 9 up, 9 down to this point.
You know, and it's a big play. This will be a big outcome for either team. I mean, it'll be the first time all game they get Danny Duffy in the stretch. And if you're a Yankee hitter, if you're the Yankee offense, you just want anything that can change the momentum or the look of this game, because so far he's been dominant.
No, you wouldn't expect the Yankees. You know, you think of Bronx Bombers, right? I mean, and we've showed you they're leading the American League in a lot of categories, but they actually lead the league in bunt base hits. And the ruling is safe. So there you go. A good challenge by Joe Girardi, and the Yankees have their first base runner.
And Brett Weber strikes again.
So the 8th bunt base hit for the Yanks this year. As we look at it one more time, and I think the foot is the reason, Alex.
I think so. You see a little space, and sometimes we don't give the umpires enough credit. Obviously, everyone wants to bark at them when they don't do a good job, but you know, Jim Reynolds is as good as they come, and a pro.
So now the Yankees finally have someone on base, and it's someone who could be a problem with Sanchez at the plate. Ellsbury has got 8 steals on the year. He's in the top 5 in the American League in that department.
Something to watch, Kevin, that Danny Duffy, one of the many adjustments he's made, is he can throw all 3 pitches from the slide step.
Sanchez popped up. Hosmer lost it, now sees it. That sky is tough right now. And you can see it looked like he lost it for a second, but got a hold of it for the first out.
You know, when the sky's like this, Kevin, all the infielders and outfielders, you're screaming at each other. You see Hosmer kind of waving his hands there and asking for help.
That's tough.
And communication this time of the day is extremely important.
It's windy. The wind is it's becoming more windy. It's kind of a light and a dark blue mix, but he found that one in foul territory. So the first out, and that'll bring up Matt Holliday. We get a time on the field here. I want to go back to what you just said. You talked about, you know, how he can throw all of his pitches with the slide step. And I'll ask you after this pitch, because I want to know why that makes a difference. Ellsbury not going, and Holiday rips at the first one, carrying down the right field line, but that will go foul. So why does that make a difference?
You know, as a hitter, you want predictability. You want the same time, you want the same arm motion, you want the same speed. When a guy that throws 95 with a power slider can slide step and he can throw all 3 pitches, it just brings another dimension that you don't want to deal with. Most people think he's thinking about the guy on first. Is actually very disruptive for the hitter.
Long look, and now a soft toss over there.
Kevin, especially tough for guys like Matt Holliday and Aaron Judge who have leg kicks, because that really messes with your timing. I hated guys that mixed up their times to the plate.
Ellsbury not going again, and Holiday takes outside off speed, and it's 1-1. With Judge, he's on deck. He's got a little bit to go before we see Aaron Judge at the plate. One, and it's inside and low, so 2-1 to Holiday.
You know, one of the best that I faced in my career was Pedro Martinez. Not only did he mix up times, but he would also hold the ball on you. And it could be a non-runner at first base. He did it because he knew it drove the hitter crazy. He took that momentum. And there's a slide step right there. That's something to be aware of. If you're a guy that has a leg kick like I did, or Judge, or Holiday, you have to be cognizant. See the timing? That's very, very disruptive. And, you know, how we went about it, and Kevin Long was the one that really advocated this, just spread out a little bit, you know, eliminate the leg kick if you can, and just be ready to hit from the get-go.
With that, though, it's still Holiday, the 3-1. Ellsbury has not tried to go. He won't hear. 3-1 coming. Strike. And that's the other thing, too. You know, you're talking about how hard it is for the hitter, especially with a leg kick. The runner, too, you got to stay a little closer because he's quick to the plate.
You do. And there was a 3-1 fastball right down the middle. He was 1-6 to the plate, meaning his time to the plate was 1-6. The reason why he took that pitch 3-1, he was not expecting the slow one. He was expecting the slide step.
And a quick look over to Ellsbury. Runners have only attempted 1 steal on Duffy this year, and I think you're seeing the reason why. He's quick to the plate, the slide step, giving a look over, and also Salvador Perez behind the plate most of the time. He throws a lot of guys out. 3-2 to Holiday. Ellsbury, the Yankees' first base runner of the game. Play here in the 4th. If you just joined us, showed you some numbers on the Yankee offense at the top. And a number you wouldn't expect. They're second in the American League in steals. It's not a category that they've been up near the top of in recent years. Payoff pitch. Holiday stays alive. As a matter of fact, the Yankees have stolen 10 straight bases. Aaron Hicks, one of those guys. Here it's Holiday, though. Breaking ball, and it's ball 4. So the Yankees have a rally going. The first walk from Danny Duffy, and there's 2 on for the Yanks. All of a sudden, that challenge is looking like a pretty good move from Joe Girardi.
You know, Castro's been in the league a long time. People don't realize he's a young man still. He's on pace to have the best year of his career. His walks are up, his contacts are up, all his numbers are up across the board. And if he continues this, he will go from good to great. And he's a guy the Yankees can be a big part of this Yankee offense for a long time.
He's got a chance to get the Yankees back in this game, and he takes outside ball 1 in the dirt. You know, feels like to the baseball fan, it feels like he's been around forever. He's only 27, and you look at where he is, the best by far of his career through 37 games. And Castro takes. It's 2-0. Let's go downstairs to Ken.
Well, Kevin, to your point, I was talking to Castro yesterday, and he told me this is the best he has felt since 2011. And I thought, man, that's a long time ago. Well, he was 21 back then. That was his first full season, 207 hits.
Wow. That is pretty wild. He has, this is a long way to go, and having a career season at 27, leading the league in hits. Rips this one, and that's going to head into the stands. And you're talking about 2011. He was an all-star for the first time that year, hit 307 that year. This is this year where he stands.
And you know, Kevin, you look at all those numbers, but the numbers I'm most interested, to me, the most important number for Castro is discipline, walks, strikeouts, and the ability to lay off bad pitches.
2-1, and Duffy. So after the walk to Holiday, Duffy's really slowed down here. That rhythm that he had the first 3 innings certainly changed after that bunt single by Ellsbury. Got it going.
It's interesting how speed always slows the game down.
Three and one. Aaron Judge is next. 2-0 Royals. Got 2 runs with 2 outs in the second. (3-1). Castro fouls it off. 3-2.
And there's a difference between old Danny Duff and new one. There's a 3-1 pitch. If you're Castro, you're sitting dead red, and he pulls the string and throws an 84-mile-an-hour changeup. That's devastating. Now 3-2, advantage Duffy.
Duffy, 6 strikeouts so far in this one. Three and 2 coming, and Castro goes down on strikes. The 7th whiff for Danny Duffy, and that's a big one for the second out.
The 7th strikeout, and all on sliders. Again, set up by good fastballs earlier in the count.
And so he gets through Castro, but now he's got to go through Aaron Judge, who comes into tonight 5th in the American League in RBIs. Struck out his first at bat. And it's ball 1 to Judge.
Now, Kevin, here's a situation where I know first base is not open, but theoretically you do have an open bag. If I was Duffy, I would give nothing to hit to Judge in this situation.
But if you're Judge, do you know that as a hitter? I mean, how do you approach it then if that's what you're thinking?
You know, the one thing you can't do is get too passive. You know, I've talked to Aaron Judge a lot, and you talk about big moments. Well, you have the game is on the balance right now. You want to know and be ready that if you get that one pitch, you do not want to miss it.
2-0 here. That catches the corner for a strike.
That's a generous call by Cowboy Joe West.
Listen, the Cowboy knows there might be some rain coming, Alex. He's got to maybe get the borderline calls tonight. 2-1. And that one certainly not going to be called. So 3-1 Aaron Judge. Headley's the on deck batter. 2 on for the Yanks, trailing 2-0 here in this 4th inning, and 2 down.
And if you're Aaron Judge right now, you don't want to look necessarily for a fastball. You probably want to sit on 88 miles an hour, and that'll keep you on the fastball. But if he hangs you a slider, it can go a long ways.
3-1. Judge high in the air right field. And Soler comes on in. So Duffy has some struggles but gets out of it. Royals still in front. The best seats at every ballpark for every game. Visit MLB.com/tickets today. Bottom of the fourth inning, 2-0 Kansas City over the Yanks. Yankees have won the first two games of this series. Danny Duffy had his first issues of this game after easily mowing down the Yankees in the first three innings, but got out of the jam, getting Starlin Castro to strike out and then Aaron Judge to fly out to right. So now in the home fourth, it's Salvador Perez, the designated hitter tonight, who flew out to right field his first time up. And he takes downstairs. It's 2-0. There's a strike. You know, Jordan Montgomery has done a nice job this year. At least 6 innings he's gone in 4 of his last 5 starts. Ran into trouble in that second, but got out of it and came back with a nice 3rd inning. And 2-2 to Salvador Perez. Great. Ken Rosenthal. Sorry, Alex.
You know, talking to Girardi today, I mean, his scouting report was dead on. I mean, they haven't hit the ball, you know, necessarily really hard. They've got 2 runs. He settled down nicely, and he's given the Yankee offense a chance to come back.
2-2 to the leadoff hitter here in the home fourth. And there's strike 3 called. So Montgomery comes in with 92 miles an hour and gets the strikeout as out number 1 in this inning.
And what sets up that strikeout is not the fastball at 92 miles an hour, is the 2-0 changeup. That as a hitter, you have to honor that. You're thinking the changeup, and boom, the 92-mile-an-hour fastball is right down the middle and is right by you.
And so the second strikeout for Montgomery. That'll bring up Jorge Bonifacio, the left fielder tonight. Walked his first time up. Getting the start for Alex Gordon, who gets the night off, and a big cut and a miss. I was just referencing before Ken Rosenthal was telling the story, talking to his coach at South Carolina about all the traits he had. They called him Gumby in college, Alex, because as he said it, he was long and uncoordinated. Gumby's found himself a little bit of a home his rookie year.
He has, and they like him. You know, when you talk to the guys down there, they like his poise, they like his size. And look, anytime you can have a left-handed hitter, it reminds you of a great, you know, the possibility.
Swing and a miss, gets by Sanchez. Now the hose down to first, and he got him. That arm is just ridiculous. Another strikeout for Montgomery, back-to-back in this fourth.
That's a very athletic play right there, and a very difficult one. You get back there very quickly, pick up the ball.
He's almost too calm because his arm is that good. So back-to-back strikeouts for Montgomery. That'll bring up Jorge Soler, who reached on a fielder's choice and scored his first trip, and he's swinging for the downs here on the high fastball, strike one.
So there he's throwing a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, and 2-0, you know, he can throw you 84-mile-an-hour changeup. As a hitter, that's a lot to think about.
Quickly 0-2.
Up to 94 there.
I think that said the first two are fastballs. One will try it again.
Patrick Ewing couldn't hit that ball.
No. Maybe one more time. 1-2 coming. And a little high, a little tight. So 2-2. All fastballs so far to Soler.
And you know, when you look at him in the eye test, he's got good stuff. He throws his fastball anywhere from 89 to 94.
Danny Duffy has struck out 7 Yankees so far tonight. Ran into some trouble the last inning for the first time all game, but got out of it. And he starts Chase Headley with a ball. Headley, one of those strikeout victims, back in the second inning. 2-0 Royals as we play in the 5th from Kansas City. 2-0. Headley swings, ripped, but foul. He would have loved that one. He's just 4 of his last 37, so that would have felt good for Chase Headley.
You know, Danny Duffy, he's a completely different pitcher. When I faced him early on, he would throw you 8, 9 out of 10 pitches were fastballs. Very predictable. He sprayed the ball all over the place. He went to the bullpen and figured out a way to throw strikes.
Down to third. Moustakas, fair ball. Bobbles can't corral it, and Headley will head down to first base. See how they score. It would have been a tough play. And Headley, second straight inning now. The Yankees have the leadoff runner on. So they give the error to Moustakas. Just
ball
couldn't
hits
hold
off
it.
ball hit off the heel of his glove a little bit, and you know, with a guy like Chase Headley, you can actually look it in a little bit more, take your time, and Mike's got a great arm to throw it right across. Maybe just rushed it a little bit.
It's only the 11th error overall by the Royals all year, best in baseball in that department, so that's a rarity. And that was no gimme play if he gloves it either. But the error to Moustakas, and here comes Didi Gregorius, who popped up his first time. Gregorius rips one, but foul. One thing about Gregorius, he has really hit lefties well. I mean, coming into tonight this year, he was 8 of 21 against left-handers. As a matter of fact, for left-handed hitters in the game, Alex, if you go back to the start of last year, he is the best of any lefty hitting other lefties. 331 coming into tonight. Quick throw to first, but Headley back in.
You got to give Didi a lot of credit. He came in and you know, struggled early on in New York. It's very, very difficult to play in New York. He settled down, and he's one of the best athletes I've played with. Very athletic, and just has put a tremendous amount of work with both hitting coaches, and he's improved as much as any young player I've seen in a long time. And I know we keep saying this about the Yankees. Aaron Hicks the same way, but he came out from one month to the next as a different human being, and he was one of their best players coming down the stretch in 15.
You know, also was the first guy to play shortstop after Jeter left. I mean, that's a hard thing to do, but he handled it as well as you can possibly handle it. It'll be a 1-2 here. It's outside 2-2.
You know, Didi's a classy young man. He speaks like 5 languages. He's got great parents, does a tremendous amount of work in the community. And when you think about a prototypical shortstop, he's it. He's got as strong as arm as any shortstop around. We ranked at a 7 or an 8. He's got great hands, and he's just been a great fit for the New York Yankees.
Short lead for Headley. 2-2 coming. Foul straight back. So Gregorius battling Duffy here. Aaron Hicks would be next.
You know, Kevin, you often hear ratings when you rate a player, and the rating system is 2 to 8, and 8 being the very best. And traditionally, scouts, they don't like giving 8s. That's a very rare thing. But Didi's one of the few players that may have an 8. Let's call him a 7.5, which means all world. And the accuracy, it's what's really impressive. The combination is lethal.
2-2. And the breaking ball never broke. And so the count goes full to Gregorius. So if the 8 was the big score, what exactly did you get when they were rating you in high school?
Well, I got C's and D's in high school, so.
That's a whole different scale.
Thank goodness for baseball. My goodness.
Somehow I don't buy that. You're a tad smarter than that.
I'll be sneaking into bleachers somewhere.
Little pump from Drew Butera. Let's go. 3-2 to Gregorius. And again, he hangs in there.
You know, Kevin, Didi's an interesting young man. He's an artist, and he's a soccer player, but he's a whiz with computers and iPads. And anytime I had problems with iPads or electronics, I always went to him because I'm like a dinosaur, and he's like the modern day, you know, Bill Gates that plays shortstop.
3-2. That is something I've never heard compared to as a baseball player, for sure. That's an analogy I didn't think would come out tonight. I love it.
I mean, he makes beautiful paintings. I know he made one of Jeter. I think he made one of me. He made one of all his teammates, some of his teammates. But really good work.
3-2 one more time. 9th pitch of the at bat to Gregorius. Not yet. Told you about Didi's prowess against left-handed pitchers. You've seen his cuts in this at bat. Popped up to first. His first time up. We'll do it again.
You know, Danny Duffy has been superhuman with nobody on base. Strikeouts, we talked about 7 strikeouts with 7 sliders. He looks a little vulnerable with men on base. So this may be a good sign for the Yankees here.
9th pitch of this at bat. 3-2. Outside and low, ball 4. And so the first 2 on base for the Yankees here in the 5th. Second walk by Duffy. MLB on FS1 is brought to you by the Hartford. When the unexpected strikes, the Hartford strikes back with small business insurance. And by the Lincoln Continental. That's the Negro League Museum here in Kansas City. A lot of the players come in, and especially the visitors, get a chance to come in and get a look at some history. Right now, Danny Duffy's in a little bit of a jam here, but this may help. To short, could be 2 on the turn. 6-4-3, just what the doctor ordered. So just like that, Duffy gets Hicks to ground into the double play.
And Kevin, it was that slider again. That's been his go-to pitch. 7 strikeouts and now a big, big double play.
And so 2 outs. Headley goes to 3rd, and the 9-hitter Chris Carter tonight. A strikeout victim back in the 3rd. So Duffy for the 2nd straight inning trying to get out of a jam and keep it a 2-0 game in favor of the Royals. Carter with a big swing and a miss off speed at strike 1. And Carter's trying to get going here. Told you about Greg Bird with the injury, trying to come back, that ankle injury. So it's Carter's job right now. You forget he led the National League in home runs last year, 41. Haven't seen it just yet, and it's upstairs for ball 1. And you see, you know, Bird's hurt now with the ankle, but when he wasn't performing. And when Carter's been in there, he hasn't been performing.
It's hard to believe, Kevin, that this offense can actually get better because they've been unbelievable and they've been fun to watch. But, you know, having Greg Bird back, when he comes back, I think he's going to make them that much better, especially when you face really good pitching.
Carter fooled, got a piece, and it's 2-2.
You know, when a guy throws as hard as Duffy and he's so athletic and he jumps at you, the reason why you're seeing so many bad swings from the right-handed hitters of the Yankees is you cannot see the rotation. That spin is so tight, you just can't see it.
Looking for his 8th strikeout of the game, and he's got it.
Like that.
Strikeout number 8, that ties a season high for Danny Duffy. Gets out of a huge jam, and he comes back with the old slider. It's working for him tonight. 2-0. Duffy and the Royals in front. All forms of baseball and softball participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everyone. To learn more, go to playball.org. He's ready to go with that glove. Love it. As a bunt attempt by Merrifield here. It's a great one. He's going to be on. He had an RBI single his first at bat. He had a home run last night, and that is a beauty to start the 5th inning.
This is a great play, and this is something I love to see, young players, guys that can run, do more. If you put that ball, especially with the shift where Castro was playing, it's undefendable.
We've seen a couple really nice bunt base hits in this game. And so now with the runner on first, here's Drew Butera. Had a 2-out RBI single. His last at bat, getting a rare start behind the plate. Salvador Perez, who catches like every single inning back there, gets the DH tonight. Not completely off. He gets the DH. Ball 1. You're wondering about Merrifield on first base, by the way. He's got 1 steal on the year. Montgomery had the one tough inning, the second inning, and really would have been out of it if the Yankees turned a double play. Castro had a bad throw, and then the Royals scored twice after that. Other than that, he's been pretty efficient. In the 5th inning, he's only got 66 pitches, and that inning was a 27-pitch inning.
He looks very comfortable. I mean, when you think about the eye test, he looks like a guy that can win 15 games, and is a guy that can be very effective. And listen, in order to win in October, historically for the New York Yankees, has been all about left-handed pitchers. Whether you're going back to, Righetti and going back to Andy Pettit and some of the greats, you need big-time left-handed pitching, especially in Yankee Stadium.
Now that guy knows a thing or two about postseason pitching. CC Sabathia. It'll be a 1-2 to Butera. Runner stays put. Left side. Here's Gregorius. Smooth to second, but no chance to get 2 as Castro had to stay on the bag. So we go to the top of the order for Kansas City, and there's a lot of differences obviously in the team that won the World Series in terms of bullpen, but the core has been pretty much the same. And you look at these decisions that are coming up, these are all free agents after the season for the Royals, who, I mean, look, they're not bringing everybody back. There's no way that's going to happen. And so that has led to a lot of discussion, a lot of questions, new CBA rules, and it's going to be very interesting to see how their general manager Dayton Moore, who's done a great job here in Kansas City, how he handles this. Kenny, maybe you could help sort us out here, exactly where the Royals are, what they can get if they decide to trade some of these guys, and how it affects them if they just let them walk at the end of the year.
Right, Kevin. It's not as simple an equation as it might appear. Now, the free agents they've got, obviously they can try to re-sign them. They've tried with Hosmer a little bit. It hasn't worked out. Maybe they can go get Kane or Escobar done before the deadline. That's a possibility. The other possibility, of course, is trading several of them. But then the question becomes, what can you get back? Eric Hosmer, in an age of numbers, doesn't have the greatest offensive numbers. He might not command as much in a trade as you would think. So then there's the third option. You keep all of them, or most of them. You take them to the end of the season, then you make them qualifying offers. The way the new CBA works, if one of these guys, or more of them, gets $50 million as a free agent from another team, the Royals would get a pick after the first round, plus accompanying pool money, which gives them extra money to spend in the draft. That's not a bad place to be. It's all part of the equation.
So there's a lot there, Kenny, and obviously, to your point, it depends on what the phone calls that Dayton Moore say. And you're talking about you have to get $50 million. I'm assuming Eric Hosmer would get that in free agency. The other guys, would they? I don't know. I mean, you would think, but maybe not. It's 2-2 to Escobar, and as a general manager, fouled off. It's a tough spot if you're Dayton Moore, or I guess really anyone in the game.
Dayton Moore, he's really one of the best in the game, and he's a remarkable baseball man, and he's done great things here. But I mean, the Kansas City Royals are in an impossible situation, and here's why. I mean, first of all, this is an important game for Kansas City Royals and their fans. But if I was the other 29 teams, especially the 12 or 14 teams that think they can win a World Series, I mean, you have some beautiful stock out there. And Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, these guys are young, they're good, they're athletic, they play both sides of the ball. And I got to tell you, they know what it takes to win the championship. So here's the thing, Kevin, when you're a young player, the team have 6 years where they control you. The first 3 years, you listen to your parents. So if the team makes you a good offer, you may sign it. The last 2 years, they start listening to the agent. In this case, that's a problem for Kansas City.
Yeah, and a guy like Eric Hosmer, that's Scott Boras, who we know, is gonna get that big money. Obviously, you had him too, the same type of situation. So you're saying that, not only the Royals, but teams, they have to make the decision fast and try and sign these guys early.
It's putting on a lot more pressure. That's exactly right, Kevin. It's putting a lot more pressure on general managers and front offices to commit to the players earlier. Kansas City Royals have had Eric Hosmer since 2008. He's a world-class guy. And for me, if I had the first pick in the draft, he would certainly be my first 3 picks. I disagree a little bit with Kenny, where he may not get the numbers or his numbers are down. He's a guy that brings a lot more to the table than just numbers. And he's proven that. He won an American Heritage in high school. He won in the minor leagues. He won a World Series here. He's a winner.
Alex, here's the thing, though. Let's say the Royals wanted to sign Eric Hosmer a few years ago. Let's say Moustakas, too. Both represented by Scott Boras. You were represented by Scott Boras, and you know he generally prefers to take his guys to the open market. So, wouldn't it have been really difficult for the Royals to get something like that done?
As this one is drilled deep to right field. Judge going back and gone! Mike Moustakas, his 10th home run of the year. I got to tell you, Alex, the wind is gusting into right field, and he hit that so hard it cut right through it and got it out of this yard.
Any other day, that ball is over the bullpen, probably 3 rows up. He hit the ball a mile high and a mile far.
I mean, that was a shot for Moustakas. It's been blowing hard all night. A 3-run shot for Moustakas. RBI's number 20, 21, 22, and all of a sudden, it's 5-0 Kansas City.
Kenny, going back to your point as far as free agency, when you're a player and you know they control you for 6 years, it's like poker. You have to make your early bet, and you make your best move early and often. The first 3 years, the player listens to his parents. Once you get into year 5 or year 6, and the agent smells the money and smells it big time, the player starts listening to the agent.
And I think there's one other thing to this is Cain fouls it off. 1-2 to Lorenzo Cain with 1 down. Kenny, and I want to bring you back in. The other factor of this is that the CBA is changing, and we always talk about the big contracts. Maybe it'll be Hosmer this year, Harper, Machado, guys like that next year. I wonder how many teams with this luxury tax can really afford to go bonkers with some of these big contracts anymore. This is deep to right but playable, and Judge has it for the second out.
That's a fair question, Kevin, but we're going to see one of the great free agent classes in history, 2018-19, and I expect that teams are going to spend for the great players still. And here's Hosmer, 28-year-old free agent is what he will be. And there are any number of teams that could go after him, not just Kansas City. The Yankees, if they don't believe Bird is going to work out. The Red Sox with Mitch Moreland right now. Blue Jays, Mets, Dodgers, if they want to put Bellinger in the outfield and give up on Adrian with 1 year left. He's going to do well.
Whoa, what a catch. Hosmer hit a bullet, and then Headley, just reactionary, makes the catch, and the inning is over. But the Royals, with some power from Mike Moustakas, bam, a 3-run shot, cut it through the wind and into the seats for a 5-0 Royals lead through 5. Back in Kansas City, top of the 6th inning, 5-0 Royals on the strength of a 3-run home run from Mike Moustakas. Jordan Montgomery was really cruising along, and then a walk hurt him. Had a fielder's choice in there after a base hit, and then the 3-run shot by Moustakas. 10th of the year, his career high 22, so he's on quite the pace for Kansas City. Meanwhile, top of the order for the Yankees, who have had something going in the early going the last 2 innings, but they've let Duffy off the hook. Ellsbury was the first base runner against Duffy with a bunt base hit back in the 4th inning. And it's 1-2. So Danny Duffy, 8 strikeouts. That ties his season high that he had on opening night for him, his opening start of the year. Two and two.
You know, Kevin, when you're sitting there in the Yankee dugout and Duffy has the kind of stuff that he has tonight, you get a feeling you're going to get 1 or 2 cracks at him, and they had one and they let it go.
Ellsbury down on strikes. Strikeout number 9 for Duffy. That's his season high.
You know, Danny Duffy is known for his explosive fastball, but tonight it has been all about the slider. A Steve Carlton type slider. He's got 9 strikeouts, 7 on sliders, 2 on changeups. And again, what sets up that great slider is the 95-mile-an-hour fastball to both sides of the plate. And as a hitter, especially a right-handed hitter, you have to honor that.
So now it's Gary Sanchez. It has been some performance by Duffy tonight. Look at that line. 9 strikeouts, 5 1/3. Amazingly, here we are in the 6th inning. The Yankees have only gotten the ball out of the infield twice. And it's quickly 0-2 to the Yankees catcher.
And again, I mean, he's looked like Superman with nobody on base. He looks very comfortable, very relaxed. His cadence is a lot better when there's nobody on base.
It'll be an 0-2. Down low. Well, to your point, things have slowed down when he's had runners on. As a matter of fact, he's been throwing nothing but strikes tonight, but with runners on, 23 strikes, 20 balls. So, of course, it's hard enough to get on base. That's the first issue. 1-2 coming, and this one to right field. That's a base hit. So Gary Sanchez has a 1-out single for the Yankees. Downstairs we go to Ken.
Well, Kevin, few players embrace their community the way Danny Duffy has. He cited his love for Kansas City when he signed that 5-year, $65 million extension in January. And this season, speaking of strikeouts, he is donating $500 per strikeout to Noah's Bandage Project. It's a nonprofit that raises funds for pediatric cancer research and provides cool, fun bandages for kids who are suffering from the disease. He had a great quote to me. He said, "You've got to figure out what you have a heart for in this game. When you get to the point where you're stable enough financially to give back, it's foolish not to. We've got to use this platform for the greater good."
Oh, that is awesome. That's great stuff, Kenny. Great stuff out of Danny Duffy, who gets Holiday to fly out. So 2 away. Sanchez will stay at first base. And that'll bring up Starlin Castro. Love hearing that about guys giving back. Castro tonight 0 for 2, although his last at bat, a strikeout victim, may be somewhat controversial. Joe Girardi didn't like one of the strike calls that Joe West had behind the plate. After the inning, Joe was out having a somewhat calm conversation with Cowboy Joe. Let's see if that affects anything here. 2 down. Top left side. Escobar, inning over. Duffy keeps on cruising. 5-0 Royals in front. Tonight's game summary is brought to you by Budweiser. It's been all Danny Duffy for the most part. 9 strikeouts, season high for him. He's been terrific. And then Mike Moustakas with the big shot, a 3-run home run in the 5th, cutting through this intense wind that's been blowing in from right all night long. And it's 5-0 Royals in front, as it'll be Salvador Perez to lead it off for Kansas City here in the 6th inning. And the new pitcher, as Jordan Montgomery has done, Chad Green, the 25-year-old right-hander, will come into the game. Just got called up recently, pitched on Sunday, and had a nice outing in that game on Sunday. 3 2/3 scoreless against the Astros. So we'll get a look at Green as Montgomery's day is done. And he starts off strike 1 to Perez. Jordan Montgomery, 5 innings. 4 hits, 5 runs. Again, the home run by Moustakas, the biggie. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, 83 pitches for Montgomery. Perez is 0 for 2 tonight, and he takes outside for strike number 1. What's interesting now with the Yankees, their bullpen has been outstanding. A 2.55 ERA, that's second best in Major League Baseball. But now, well, this Chapman's on the shelf. Maybe a month for him, we'll see. So everybody moves up. Betances will be the closer. And we're talking to Joe Girardi about that. Ken asked him a question like, so what's the biggest challenge? And he said, you know, the interesting thing for us, I think, is Adam Warren. Because you would imagine that at the end, right, Alex, Betances will do his thing. Clifford's been great, guys like that. But now Warren, who they were using in the 5th and 6th inning, who's such a great swing guy, now maybe you got to use him a little bit later. And that changes up really this part of the game, the middle of the game.
You know, he's a wild card, and he's a tremendous tool. He's a tremendous weapon for Joe Girardi.
Long chase, Sanchez, Carter sliding, and it just gets into the Royals dugout.
You know, he's a guy that graduated from the University of North Carolina with a finance degree. Very smart, tremendous clubhouse guy, quiet, smart, union representative. I know that when we, at the time when I was with the Yankees and we lost him, for us, we really missed him. And now that he's back, again, he's showing why he was, you know, such a big part of that team.
2-2 to Perez. Big cut and a miss. 95 miles an hour from Green.
You know, going back to Adam, Kevin, you know, you can.
Warren, you're talking about?
Yeah, it's good fastball there by Chad Green. Yeah, Warren, there's so many things that Girardi can do. I mean, he's a true weapon. You can start him if you need him. You can middle relieve him. If you need an emergency closer, he can close. He gets righties and lefties out. He throws strikes. He holds runners on well, and he fields his position.
This is base hit. That's Bonifacio, who's got himself on the base for this, on the bases, I should say, for the 2nd time tonight. Walk back in the 2nd. Jorge Bonifacio with a 1-out single, and that'll bring up Jorge Soler.
You know, Kevin, I think one of the unsung stories this year has been the very good job that Joe Girardi has done. I mean, he's done as good a job as he's done in a long time. And look, I think a lot of fans out there forget that he did a great job with Hanley Ramirez in 2006 with the Marlins. He had Cabrera. He had Dancho Willis. Joe loves the game. He's a disciplinarian, and he's a great teacher. And I think the combination of his style and a young team is paying tremendous dividends.
He's got these Yankees in first place. And I think the thing is with them, I think a lot of people thought that, hey, they could surprise, you know, maybe they'd be in the mix. I don't know that a quarter of the way through the year basically is about where we are, that people, well, now it's went from like a nice little story to like, oh, this team gets the World Series now.
Well, Kevin, the sample size is bigger than people think. I mean, they finished the season very strong last year. They started playing really well once they sent me back to Miami. And, you know, last 2 months, a very good spring training. But if you think about it, the last 100 games, they've won 92 games. You had another 24 wins in spring training. This is no longer a fluke. They are for real.
So like the last, so you're saying that the last, you meant 162
I'm sorry,
games,
over
right?
the last 162 games, right?
So they've won
full season. They've won 92 games.
That's unbelievable. That's an interesting stat. I did not know that. I knew what you were saying there. You know, now the other spin on this, right, is this. So we had the great conversation about the Royals and Dayton Moore and what are they going to do and how do they approach this. How do the Yankees approach it? Because, you know, they've always been the team to go out and get. To short. Could be two. Gregorius. Castro fires and a double play. And maybe we'll cover that when we come back. Double play gets Green out of the inning. We're through 6 in Kansas City. Aaron Judge leads it off for the Yanks in the 7th inning. It has been quite a night for Danny Duffy. A season high 9 strikeouts. And we should tell the viewers at home there's some weather in the area. There is lightning within 6 miles. Why are we telling you this? Judge takes a strike. It's 1-1 because basically any TV network with that you get your camera people off the field. I mean they're a lightning rod literally with those metal cameras out there. So we have to pull our camera folks who are out in the open just for safety because the lightning's that close. So we are going to lose some cameras here until that passes. So we'll do the best we can to give you the pictures we can. So that's why some things may look a little different here. So just stay with us. We have nobody on those cameras right now. Those are kind of important, by the way, Alex, when we do the center field camera is kind of important.
Oh yeah.
So we lock them down and we hope you get you some shots. That's why our director Matt Gangle gets paid the big bucks.
That's right.
There you go. Here's Judge and it's still 1-2. So Aaron Judge, you obviously have known him. You played with him. You had him meet our crew yesterday and boy is he just a delight to be around.
You know, he's a gentle giant. He's 6'7", 285 pounds. He looks like a tight end that plays in the NFL. You know, he reminds me a little bit of Dave Winfield minus the really strong throwing arm.
Checks his swing. They'll take a look. He did not go around.
But it's just been so much fun watching him develop, watching him work. He had some trials and tribulations he had to get through as far as his swings, his mechanics. But boy, when it comes together and you're that strong, it's been fun watching him play.
2-2 to Judge here. 0 for 2 tonight. And he watches that outside. Good eye. Count goes full. It's fun. He's living in a hotel in Times Square. He's the cover boy of Sports Illustrated, right? And there's a real nice article written about him. And he's living in a hotel in Times Square. So if you've never been in New York, payoff, and this one is drilled to center. It's a base hit for Aaron Judge. His first of the night, and Kane with a bobble. Judge trying to take advantage, going to 2, and he's got it. So the Royals, who only had 10 errors coming into this game, have made 2 here tonight.
And here's a big difference, Kevin, from last year to this year. Nice, compact, very relaxed leg kick. I referred to him earlier. It almost looks like he's falling asleep up there, and that's a good thing. Tremendous swing, great balance, good bat speed.
That'll bring up Headley. I think that's the hardest ball it's been hit off Danny Duffy tonight. And so the Yankees, though, for the 3rd time in this game, have the leadoff runner on, trailing 5-0. There's a strike.
You know, when you're Aaron Judge and you're 6'7", 285 pounds, and you bench press over 350 pounds, everyone wants to talk about the power. But the one thing that goes a little bit under the radar is the very good defense he plays, a very accurate, strong throwing arm, and he runs much better than people give him credit for.
No doubt. And, you know, I was talking about, you know, how he lives in Times Square in the hotel right now. And a lot of young guys will do that, live in a hotel or someplace not permanent, you know, until you know you're going to be here, right? But I asked him, I said, why Times Square? Like, how do you sleep in Times Square? And he said, well, it was hard at first. Headley to center. Kane took a second, now comes on in and makes the play for the first out. I mean, that is a unique choice, Alex, to stay in Times Square, right?
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't staying there when I was in my 20s and early 30s. That would have been a lot of trouble.
There he is on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He said he doesn't get noticed. He comes into his hotel. There's certainly the melting pot of people in Times Square. And if you're 6'7", 285 and don't get noticed,
if you keep hitting moonshots like he's been hitting, that's going to end very quickly.
I would agree. So Headley retired, and that'll bring up Didi Gregorius. Gregorius had a great at bat against Duffy his last time up, drew a walk. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it straight back. And that walk was a 9-pitch walk to Gregorius. So we told you when we came back from break about the lightning situation in the area, so we've had to pull our camera folks. The reason why you're seeing some of these cameras move, because we have some robotic cameras like right there. That's controlled below the stadium or in our trucks, so you're not out in the open. So that camera we just showed you is that one. Being creative here is this, hopefully this lightning storm passes and we can get our camera folks out back to safety. So thanks for your patience. 0-1. Foul right back again. Wait and see if that one came in the booth. Gonna get out that glove again, Alex. Danny Duffy, 9 strikeouts tonight. Royals do have some action in the pen. Mike Minor well rested. He's been great out of that pen for Ned Yost this year. 0-2. One and two.
You know, that's something you don't see very often. Left on left change. And the reason why is that's a dangerous pitch because it goes right into the sweet spot for a left-handed hitter. He's had some success with it tonight.
Couple strikeouts on that pitch tonight. 1-2. Butera with the block. Duffy now at 101 pitches.
And this is something that pitching coaches do not teach. But it is a very effective pitch, especially if you can throw it low and in, and he got a strikeout early in the game with that pitch.
2-2 to Gregorius. Judge off second. And a foul ball that got Gregorius there. So 102 pitches for Duffy, his season high 104. So he's been splendid tonight, but could be getting near the end of that rope. What a difference, huh? I mean, the first 2 nights, Yankees went nuts, including last night on the Major League's ERA leader in Jason Vargas. And tonight, they've had some opportunity, but it has been Duffy who has been mostly dominant. Two again, and again Gregorius fouls it off. He had a 9-pitch walk his last at bat. You could see he's on it here. This is quite the matchup. This will be the 7th pitch coming this time around.
When you have it at bat like you did that bat before, a lot of times there's a residual to that. You've seen every pitch, every rotation. You got him squared away. You come up to the plate, and If he hits a big double or a home run or something, it's something that would not surprise me. He's seen over 20 pitches in 2 at-bats. That's a hell of a job.
That sure is. Now, though, can he deliver? Yankees are 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position tonight. Just trying to get on the board here against the ultra-tough Duffy. They've only got 3 hits all night. And this one right side, Hosmer coolly gloves it over to first base for the second out, with Judge moving to third. Judge is a little bit taller than everyone, isn't he?
He looks like a center, and then looks like a point guard over there.
I mean, Moustakas is not a small guy.
You know, if you're a kid out there and you love baseball, you see a guy like Aaron Judge, and most of these guys would end up in the NFL. I hope it gives youngsters out there some optimism to say, hey, I can play baseball too.
Here's Aaron Hicks trying to get the Yanks on the board.
Nice to see Moustakas willingly stand next to Judge, because in the first game of this series, he told me he just kind of slapped him on the thigh, said keep it going, then got out of the way because he didn't want to be seen on camera with the 7-inch height difference.
Oh, we foiled him, Kenny. Oh, that's funny. I think he does that to just about everyone. Strike to Hicks, who's had a great year so far, but a rough night tonight. Coming into this at bat, he had 2 pitches but made 3 outs. Double play was a big one back in the 5th inning when the Yankees had the first 2 on. And Hicks has had a career year. He's never found it offensively with Minnesota, and then they came over to the Yanks last year. Trying to get New York on the board. Duffy had a season high pitch count, season high strikeouts. 1-1. 1-2.
You know, going back to you know, the great job that Joe Girardi has done with this bunch. Big reason why is the flexibility that Aaron Hicks has provided for him. You know, he's given all outfielders enough rest. He's managed the playing time. And Aaron Hicks, I mean, not very often do you go from 217 to 318 with power. But more than anything, when you look at the eye test, he walks around like a different guy.
Well, he had until tonight, until he ran into Danny Duffy. 10th strikeout for Danny Duffy. It's his night here in Kansas City. 5-0 Royals. Quite a night for Danny Duffy and the Royals tonight. He is throwing a season high pitches. He's got 10 strikeouts, so that's a season high. And when the Royals desperately needed it after getting bombarded the first 2 games of this series. He's been great. And that and some timely hits and a home run by Mike Moustakas, and it's 5-0 Kansas City as we play in the bottom of the 7th inning. And now kind of the race against the storm, which is coming as well, because it has been windy and we've had some lightning in the distance. That's why a lot of our camera folks had to jump off the cameras, and just trying to get this game in at this point. Conclusion of a 3-game series as Chad Green is 2nd inning of work. And it's 2-1 to Whit Merrifield, the second baseman, who is 2 for 2 tonight, including an RBI. 2-2. Assuming that Duffy's night is done, but we'll see. As he's thrown 108 pitches. We saw Mike Minor warming up, and Merrifield goes down on strikes. So Chad Green has his 2nd strikeout. Saturday on FS1, NASCAR's biggest stars lay everything on the line for $1 million in the Monster Energy Series All-Star Race. The action starts 4:30 Eastern with qualifying. Then the All-Star Open at 6, followed by the All-Star Race at 8 Eastern. That enough for you? Happens this Saturday, only on FS1. Along with Ken Rosenthal on the field, Alex Rodriguez, a maiden voyage in the booth. I'm Kevin Burkhardt, our entire FS1 crew tonight. Mitch Smith on the stats. Pete Macheska, our producer. Matt Gangle, our director tonight. Thank you for watching as we give the local crews a night off. A little weeknight baseball on FS1. So how's this whole booth thing working out for you?
It feels pretty good. You know, we've been waiting for rain all night, but it's been, for the most part, beautiful night here.
Yeah.
And
Butera, curving foul, Judge on the run, and stands get in the way.
It's just great to be at the stadium. You have a great view from up here. You know, I'm watching the Yankees. I know them very well. I've seen a lot of these young men grow up, and they're just doing a beautiful job. And you know, Kansas City came alive tonight.
That's your view right there.
It's a good one.
Love this park here in Kansas City. Of course, our crew got to spend a lot of time here in a couple playoff seasons and a World Series.
It's hard not to come to Kauffman Stadium and not think of the great 1985 team.
Sure.
With Saberhagen and George Brett and Willie Wilson. It was, you know, that was some good baseball played there against the St. Louis Cardinals in a Game 7 where Saberhagen went 9 innings. And of course, you saw George Brett hugging Saberhagen. That's one of the great old moments.
It had been a lot of barren years for the Royals, you know, until Dayton Moore and company put this team together and got to the back. I mean, they would have won 2 World Series if it wasn't for Madison Bumgarner.
You know, great baseball town, great fans, you know, great stadium. I got to tell you, Dayton has done such a phenomenal job, not only drafting some of these young players. These young players that came up in the minor leagues, they won in the minor leagues, they've won in the big leagues. But not only do they respect each other, they love each other. And that's why they've had so much success. They're very talented, but the chemistry is phenomenal.
2 outs for Escobar, who walked his last time up, which is like a miracle. It's only the 5th time he's walked all year. I mean, he never walks. Not his game. He likes to swing, grip it and rip it for Escobar. I tell you, you know, we talked with Ned Yost about it. It makes no sense that he's the leadoff guy, but they do win when he's there, and so he stays there. But here, Chad Green with quite an inning. He strikes out the side in a heartbeat. We're through 7. It's sponsored by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. It's been all Royals here tonight as we move to the 8th inning on FS1. 5-0 Kansas City. Danny Duffy was absolutely spectacular in his start tonight. 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, just 3 hits allowed. Throwing the shutout, now he goes to the bullpen. Mike Minor, who has been equally spectacular out of the pen this year. He's only allowed 1 run on the season. It's been a good story for this Royals team. He'll face Chris Carter to start things off. And it's strike 1. One and one. You know, Minor, 29 years old. You forget he was a 7th overall pick in 2009 by the Braves out of Vanderbilt, right? And he went through some serious shoulder problems. As we see lightning off in the background. You know, he had a breakout year in Atlanta, Alex, in 2013. He won 13 games that year and then had shoulder soreness basically the whole year in 2014. And then that led to torn labrum surgery, and essentially he was out for 2 years. Didn't just had a hard time coming back from it. And so instead of putting him back into a starting rotation, he gets a strikeout here. They've put him in the bullpen, and he's really excelled so far.
Well, he looks really good, and you know that was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball in the corner, or almost in the corner. But the one thing is, if you're Mike Minor, you're looking at people like pitchers like Jamie Moyer. You're looking at pitchers who've had major injuries and went on to have a stellar career. So that's the good news if you're a left-handed pitcher. They're like cats. They have 9 lives.
If you could still throw it, if you're lefty, you could probably find yourself a job.
You have a shot.
Here's Ellsbury, top of the order, and he takes strike 1. Let's go for more on Minor. Kenny, what do you got?
Well, those 2 years of not being in the majors helped him regain his love for the game. He told me something yesterday that surprised me. Said he took baseball for granted, said he didn't like it all that much, kind of considered it work. Couldn't wait for the All-Star break, couldn't wait for the season to end, didn't want to go to spring training. But once the game was taken away from him, then he gained a different perspective, and now he enjoys it every day.
That's interesting, and it's working. Ellsbury cranks one deep left field and couldn't get it. It was Bonifacio. He had some trouble. He got turned around, and Ellsbury's got himself a double. Second hit of the night for Jacoby Ellsbury. Bonifacio never really looked comfortable going back on that.
He sure didn't. Very good swing there by Ellsbury. Fastball out over the plate. And when Ellsbury's at his best, he's driving the ball all over the field, line to line, with power to all fields.
So Ellsbury 2 for 4. His 4th double of the year. It's a lot of doubles. 225 career for Ellsbury. Here's Gary Sanchez, the catcher.
Kenny said something interesting, Kevin. While I served my suspension in 2014, when you take yourself out of the game and you get a chance to basically watch from the balcony, right, and just really appreciate, it reminds you of how much you love the game, how much you have to appreciate it. And you're one of 750 that has the privilege.
This is hit a mile high, deep to left, but playable. Bonifacio now coming on in as the wind pushes it in a little bit, and Sanchez is retired.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of 750 to wear a major league uniform, so I couldn't agree more. I had a very similar experience, and when you come back, you're enjoying the game more. You're grateful, you're appreciative, and you enjoy just putting on a big league uniform. I know I did. You
know, Kenny talking about Minor though, and really didn't love the game. I obviously didn't know you for the last few years. I mean, we had interactions when I was in New York like you were, but you always loved the game though, didn't you? So that part was a little different. Yeah,
I've always loved the game. There's no question about it. I've been a gym rat, ever since I was a little boy. But the one thing is, Kevin, there's a difference when you appreciate people, when you value your front office, you value your manager, and you value leadership. And it's so much more fun. That's one thing. I wish I can go back and really have the appreciation that I had in 2015 and 2016. Even though I sucked in 2016, I still had a pretty good attitude.
Was that as gratifying a year when you came back then as you had in your? I mean, you had some obviously monster years.
You have to think about 2009 in the World Championship as #1. But as far as being proud and feeling gratified and grateful, everything. I mean, coming back was just I had a different scope. I had a different lens. And I came to the park every day happy and ready to compete. And win, lose, or draw, I went home with a pretty good attitude.
That's great stuff. A lot of what Kenny said, too. And, you know, it's sometimes easy to take it for granted when things are going well, right? I mean, talking to just coworkers, here we are. We're at a baseball game tonight. This is our job. Get to watch some baseball. Not a bad way to go. Holiday with a big cut and a miss. And Mike Minor works through it. Had the double by Ellsbury, but nothing else. Royals pitching the shutout. Here's Mike Moustakas. You see that 3 in the home 5th inning. That was him. He hit a 3-run mammoth home run directly into pretty gusty winds blowing right into right field. And that blew this game open, especially with the way that Danny Duffy has pitched tonight. 10th home run of the year for Moustakas. Meanwhile, Chad Green in his 3rd inning of work doing a nice job eating some innings for Joe Girardi. And Green has struck out 4 batters already in his first 2 innings of work. Moustakas makes it number 5. Wow. So Chad Green on fire here. Grip the Moment, sponsored by Falcon Tires, the official tire of Major League Baseball. As we watch the Falcon Tires grip the moment. Here we go. There is Moose going deep after making the play in the field. He's had a night. Duffy's had a night. And the Yankees offense, which has been absolutely brilliant. They've been the best in the American League, 2nd best in the major leagues. That might be looking at getting shut out for the first time all year long. Hasn't happened yet.
Chad Green looks very impressive.
Sure does, as Kane pops one up. Carter for out number 2. He is mowing people down.
You know, he's a guy the Yankees really like. He can do a lot of things. He can start. He can pitch out of the bullpen. He has a power arm. And get it up to 98 miles an hour. Has this nice slider. Good athlete. Very, very hard worker. And he's in tremendous physical condition.
The Royals have their closer up. Herrera hasn't worked this series. May see him here in the 9th as Hosmer takes down low. Hosmer 0 for 2 with a walk. A run scored here tonight.
Now, a lot of people don't know, Kevin, Eric was a first baseman out of American heritage down in Miami. He played first base, but he also closed. They won a championship in his senior year. And he would throw 95 miles an hour. I mean, there was some debate I remember reading about Should he go pitch or should he play first base? Well, needless to say, he made the right choice.
Yeah, he was funny. Spent a little bit of time with him today. He said, yeah, I come out throwing 95, then if I had to go another inning, 84. Fastballs all day. But it's fun. We've seen him in the field with that. You know, he's so good at turning the double play. Or you pointed out, he's one of the rare guys to go out on the relay.
Well, not only that, Kevin, but you know, when you're a shortstop, he's a dream. The wingspan. He's so athletic. He throws like an outfielder. And you know, the Kansas City Royals do a very funny thing. They're 1 out of 30 teams, 1 out of 30, that use the first baseman to go out and be the first cutoff on doubles on the right field line.
Here, though, Hosmer a strikeout victim. 6 strikeouts for Chad Green. And so we head to the 9th. Aaron Judge will be coming to the plate against the flamethrower Herrera. Stay tuned. The show. Oh, well, Alex, you won't be on it because you're right here. Frank Thomas is on it. Nick Swisher is on it. Our guy Chris Myers is hosting tonight. P. Rose, maybe he'll call in. I think he called in before. That's possible. Hey, it's on every weeknight at 11 Eastern on FS1, and it'll be on tonight coming up after the Yanks and Royals, so stay tuned for that fun show. So, the Royals are trying to shut out the Yankees for the first time all years. Yanks being held to a season-low 4 hits, and they bring on Kelvin Herrera, their closer. Not a safe situation, but after pitching all 3 games in the weekend over the Orioles, hasn't pitched in this series, so get a little work. Castro first pitch swinging, deep to left, and that's going to be in there and off the fence. First pitch from Herrera, and all of a sudden we got a Yankee at second base, and here we go. Bonifacio just couldn't get there.
Castro gets a first pitch slider and hammers it. Bonifacio's having a hard time out there. The wind.
I think that's made it hard,
yes,
too. I mean, you know, blowing in from right to left. Usually you have the Gold Glover Alex Gordon out there, and that's hard to replicate. So here's Aaron Judge against Herrera. How about this matchup? First pitch swinging, and he fouls it off. Judge 1 for 3 tonight. Had a bullet base hit in the 7th inning. It's been quite the year for Aaron Judge.
You know, one of the many reasons I'm sitting here next to you, Kevin, there's a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and an 82-mile-an-hour slider. I can't tell you how difficult that is to hit. Well, I actually showed you last year.
So you're human. I think your numbers are okay last time I checked. 1-1 to Judge. And it's 1-2. Well, the Yanks trying to get something going here. His offense has been electric all year long, and they had a couple of chances where they had leadoff men on. The biggest opportunity for them came in the 5th inning. The first 2 runners on, but that Danny Duffy got a double play out of Aaron Hicks, and then really he was not in trouble the rest of the way. And it's now 1-2 to Aaron Judge. Pitch. Chopper, tough play. Escobar gets there. Long throw. Not in time. Throw to second. Castro's back. And the Yankees have a little rally going here against the Royals closer.
Good play by Escobar. Great defender.
Yeah. See, Hosmer was a foot off the bag. That's why ball beat him. I mean, that was an almost impossible play that he made close. But all of a sudden here, this Yankee offense, which had 4 hits on the night, they've got back-to-back hits.
Kevin, when you talk to their players, there's a quiet confidence about it, and they never feel like they're out of the game. They've had some epic victories this year. So right now, they feel like if they can get the tying run on, they can come back, tie it, if not win it.
Here's Headley. 0 for 3 tonight. But Headley turning around to bat from his better side, the left-handed side. 277 hitter from the left side this year. After batting right-handed this entire game. So Herrera in some trouble. Plenty of cushion, but it could get a little different if Headley could find his way on, and there's a strike. 1-1.
If you're the Yankees, you're looking for base runners, pass the baton, keep the line moving, keep the pressure on the Kansas City defense.
And it's 1-2. Big cut by Headley. 97 from Herrera.
The biggest difference in the Kansas City ball club, besides we talked about Morales and what he brought as a cleanup hitter, but they had a 3-headed monster in the bullpen. And if you were playing the Royals, if you were losing after the 6th, it was game over.
There's a strikeout. Headley down on strikes for the first out of the night.
And again, this is a power changeup split, 91 miles an hour. But he throws it behind the 2 98-mile-an-hour fastballs, which makes it that much more effective.
And your point is right. We talked a lot early in the broadcast about the Royals' core, mostly position guys. But I mean, when they had Herrera was the 7th inning guy, and they had Wade Davis and Holland, the first year, and then Holland got hurt and Davis was closing it out. I mean, that was pretty sick. So 1 away. Here's Gregorius, left side. Tapper gets through. Castro's going to be waved on in, and the Yankees are on the board. Boy, Gregorius has had great at-bats all night, but nothing to show for it, but he delivers there. This isn't easy for Escobar. What came in was a 5-run lead.
So a little slider there. Indeed, he stays inside the base, but fights it off. Good hitting. I mean, good swings, good approach all night. A little backup slider there, stays inside, keeps it tight, and just pushes the ball through the infield.
So Escobar having his troubles here, and Aaron Hicks will be the hitter.
And the streak continues. Still one of 3 teams that has not been shut out.
Yeah, they get on the board, but they're not done. 1-0 to Aaron Hicks.
And Brett Gardner has come out on deck.
Chris Carter was the scheduled on-deck hitter, but Carter's had a rough night. 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts. First it's Hicks, and he's late on the fastball. 96, 97 will call it from Herrera. Judge on second. Didi Gregorius on first. It's a 4-run lead. Just one out here in the 9th. And it's 1-2.
You know, if you're the Yankees, you want Aaron Hicks obviously to get on base, but if you forward think a little bit, you want Sanchez to have a shot to, you know, to pop one here. One guy, one player needs to get on base for that to happen.
There, strike 3 called. A rough night for Aaron Hicks, and the Yankees are down to their final out.
.98-mile-an-hour fastball, good movement, right in the corner. Maybe a ball out.
So now it's Brett Gardner, who has had an unbelievable month. He hit .205 in April. He's hit .386 in the month of May. Trying to keep this Yankee rally going. Herrera trying to close it down. Gardner's also got 5 home runs this month. 5-1 Royals. Try to say that fast again. 2 down in the 9th. Ball 1 to Gardner. That's what we're talking about. Go back even a few more games into the end of April, the numbers are even better. Tough spot here, though. Good eye, 2-0 to Gardner.
You know, Brett Gardner was there in 2009 when we won the World Championship. But once you got, you know, we've left, you know, Jeter, myself, Teixeira, Mariano, he's now become he's undisputedly the leader of that team, has become a lot more emotional, a lot more vocal.
Gardner takes low, and it's 3-0. And keep in mind, the tying run is on deck in the form of Jacoby Ellsbury, who's got a couple hits tonight. Everything had been going so smoothly for the Royals tonight. And go figure, they bring in the lights-out closer, and he's in danger of walking Gardner to load the bases. 3-0. Taking strike 1.
And if you're Brett Gardner here, you almost have to make him throw 2 more strikes. So your only thought right here is, I got to keep the line moving, get the tying run to come up to the plate. I would not be surprised if he takes this pitch right here.
Three and 2.
And a gutsy 3-1 changeup call there. You got to tip your hat there in this situation to throw a 3-1 changeup when you have a 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
And a nasty one. 3 and 2 to Gardner. 2 down in the 9th. 2 on. Yankees down by 4. And he stays alive.
Good hitting by Brett Gardner, spoiling a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, sinking low and away. And here comes a changeup, Kevin.
Gardner gets into one to left on a Facio. Ball game. So it got a little dicey, but Herrera gets it done, and the Royals avoid being swept as they take the finale 5-1 over the Yankees here tonight. Pitching matchup was a good one. Duffy was terrific. 2 hours and 34 minutes in the game time tonight. And the Yankees avoid getting swept, but this was Kansas City's night. Danny Duffy, the story, he was magnificent. Here is the American League East with the updated standings. The Orioles lost again today to the Tigers. So the Yanks don't lose any ground there. And the thing about these Royals, the first 2 games of the series didn't look good. The beauty for them is even after the bad start, they had won 6 of 7 coming into this series. The division has not been great, so they have not fallen behind that much. They came into today 5 games out of first place and currently 4.5 games out of first place because Minnesota playing today a twin bill. Danny Duffy, Alex, the story.
Absolutely. I mean, he looks like a different pitcher than when he was early in his career, where he was 80 or 90% fastball. Today, 108 pitches, 43% fastballs. He had a great mix of fastball, changeup, and a Steve Carlton type slider. Wipeout. And he used it to the righties and the lefties. And of course, the slider was the pitch, but it was the reason of the 95-mile-an-hour fastball, where he moved it up, he moved it down, and he hit both corners.
Well, it was a night for the Royals, and if the bad weather's coming in, the game ended quickly enough. Everyone could go home and be happy in Kansas City. So the Yanks take 2 of 3 from the series, as that'll do it for us from Kansas City. 5-1 the final score, Royals. For Ken Rosenthal, Alex Rodriguez, I'm Kevin Burkhardt. MLB Whip Around is next on FS1.